breaking news out of Los Angeles tonight, where 4 women are making some disturbing new allegations against a Motown legend.
You might not be a Smokey Robinson fan, but trust me, your mom, auntie, or grandma is. He's a legendary lead vocalist from the group called The Miracles, and after he split from them in the early 70s, he went on to have a successful career. He is one of the greatest artists that Berry Gordy ever produced in Motown. And that's saying a lot, because Diana Ross and the Marvelettes were a Motown too. And Smokey Robinson is still a fan favorite, even in the 80s. But lately, Smokey Robinson has some interesting allegations that are not really great. And it has everything to do how he was treating some of his workers in his Chatsworth mansion. Now, these allegations don't come just against himself, but also his current wife, Frances Gladney. And now Smokey Robinson is being sued by 4 women for $50 million.
We believe that Mr. Robinson is a serial and sick that must be stopped.
Attorney John Harris revealing the accusations against Motown legend Smokey Robinson.
I will not describe the details of the sexual assaults and because they're too graphic and disturbing for this news conference.
All 4 of Robinson's alleged victims have chosen to remain unnamed and are referred to as Jane Doe in the complaint.
Our 4 clients have a common thread. They're Hispanic women who were employed as housekeepers by the Robinsons, earning below minimum wage.
The accusations against the music legend include sexual assault, battery, false imprisonment, gender violence, and creating a hostile work environment.
We're seeking damages of $50 million.
The complaint also claiming one of the Jane Does was first sexually assaulted in 2007 and that these acts continued until she resigned in 2024. According to the complaint, Robinson's former housekeeper claims in the lawsuit that she was assaulted not even 2 months after she started cleaning the couple's Los Angeles mansion. Another Jane Doe claims Robinson started assaulting her in 2016, claiming when she was home alone with the singer at his Los Angeles mansion, he would text her and ask her to meet at places in the house that didn't have cameras. The woman alleges he would then assault her.
We do have evidence of some of the misconduct.
So I'm hearing all of these allegations and these charges, and indeed they're heinous. But the question that I have is, why didn't these ladies contact the police?
Complaint says the former employees didn't speak out or go to police because they were afraid of losing their livelihood, familial reprisal, and the possible adverse effect on their immigration status.
And having to tell their husband and children of these despicable acts against them left them overwhelmed with shame and embarrassment.
Robinson's wife, Frances, also named in the lawsuit, accused of creating a hostile work environment and being aware of what was alleged and not doing anything to stop it.
These 4 courageous women want and demand justice for themselves, and the filing of this lawsuit is the first step.
The complaint also accuses the Robinsons of not paying proper wages.
And we reached out to Robinson's record label about these allegations. We're still waiting to hear back.
Now, allegedly, all of these women are Hispanic and they were living as immigrants in the country. And as you heard, the reason why they didn't go to the police was because they were concerned about their lifestyle being prohibited or anything like that. But this statement from that particular attorney brings into question this.
But I know I can take an 80-year-old down if need be. And if he's calling and texting you to meet him in places that you know don't have cameras, why are you showing up? They're also suing for unfair wages. So if minimum wage was, $8 and you getting paid $5, what livelihood are you afraid of losing? No offense, no offense. And if you were so afraid of your immigration status being affected by this, why now? Is your immigration status more protected?
And again, for me, this reminds me a little bit of the Michael Irvin situation. Remember in 2023, Michael Irvin was in Arizona and he was staying at a hotel when some lady came up to approach him and he shook her hand and then he went back to his room. That lady then accused Michael Irvin of sexual misconduct, and subsequently Michael Irvin was kicked out of that hotel and his job was taken from him in the NFL Network.
Irvin and witnesses claim it was a brief interaction in the lobby of the Renaissance Phoenix Downtown Hotel the week of Super Bowl Sunday. They said it was friendly, with a couple handshakes and some laughs between Irvin and a female employee. But then she claimed Irvin made harassing and inappropriate comments. Without getting his side of the story, Irvin was kicked out of the hotel and pulled from covering the event by NFL Network.
This just blows my mind that in 2023, we still dragging and hanging brothers by a tree.
Now with Michael Irvin, I believe he ended up selling with this hotel, and that situation was not true. So the question that I have for Smokey Robinson, what if all of this is an extortionist attempt? The reality is still this.
So the thing is that, so when something like that happens and somebody makes a false accusation, there's no penalties, bro.
That's what pisses me off.
It's no penalty.
That's what pisses me off.
For destroying somebody's life.
Yeah, yeah.
Because even if you didn't do it,
right,
just an accusation alone, you can never take that off your record.
You see, Smokey Robinson is 85 years old. And as one of the ladies said, if she was being harassed by an 85-year-old man, clearly she thinks that she would have the advantage. And then also, if you are a lady saying that you are afraid to go to the police because of, the income that you're getting and you didn't want to stop your livelihood, well, if $5 an hour is below minimum wage and $8 an hour is minimum wage that time, then how are you hurting your livelihood? That doesn't make sense, especially for people you believe are millionaires, right? That live in the Chatsworth residence. So what is the evidence that you have? I'm not sure. Now, John Harris, the women's attorney, says they do have some evidence of misconduct. Now, if they want to say they were not given proper rest periods or compensated for working overtime hours, that is something that can be explained. But what we're saying is all of these four clients have a common thread. They're all Hispanic women. And this is very similar to what we're seeing with Shannon Sharpe abusing white women, right? Allegedly. And so we got to understand that if this is true, Mr. Smokey Robinson will have to stand up to justice and for what he did was wrong. But most of us believe that this is not true. This is an extortion attempt, because where do assaults and rapes and people who do them, where does that belong? It belongs in criminal court, okay? That's where it belongs. So then the question is, why did you call the police, or why didn't you call the police? And the claims are dating back to 2007. It is now 2025. The reality is that you guys didn't want to work, you were broke, and you're trying to get money from a man that's 85, looking to tarnish a man's legacy. This is the same thing that happens to, some other people. You can say Bill Cosby in some respect, but this is what's going on right now. They're trying to tarnish this man's legacy. And it's, like I said, you have a black man that's prosecuting him, Mr. John Harris. And if he is going to prosecute him, I hope he's doing so because this is true. If it is not true, you have basically leveraged some lies on this man's name that he may never overcome. This may taint his image. Now, the one good thing on Smokey Robinson's side is people tend to feel more sympathy for somebody older. And also his wife is there, and his wife is black. That is a good thing, and that should work in his favor. But it just goes to show you, if this is false, if they would do this to an 85-year-old man, what is to say the allegations can happen against somebody like yourself, somebody who's in their 40s, somebody who's in their 50s, and somebody's in their 60s, okay? 30s. And again, this is happening with non-black women. In the case of Shannon Sharpe, look at that, non-black women. In the case of Diddy, look at that, non-black women, right? Now, Diddy stopped the show, that was actually right. But in the case of Smokey Robinson, non-black women. So again, you black men out there, gotta understand that right now, if you are successful, the worst thing you can do is to let somebody know that you're successful. Right now, I am begging you, please get off the social media, okay? Do not at all talk about how much money you have. Do not show people how much money you have. Do not try to impress people, because what you are doing is basically allowing people to know what you have in the plan, how they can get it. Of course, what chicks can do is show up to your house. Let's say, for example, Storytime Music. They can show up there, and Faison Love talked about this. Show up with a jacket, no clothes on, come to your house, then say something happened. That didn't happen. I remember hearing a story about a preacher who basically heard another story about the pastor. And what he decided to do is when women wanted to meet him, he would never meet the women by himself. All right. Because anybody can come into a pastor's study and say that, or a pastor's office and say, hey, he tried to make it pass at me. He did this and that. But no, all calls or all recorded things have records there. There's cameras there. All of that is there. All right. So a lot of men are going to have to go out there and really understand what's going on. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity John. I appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe with the bell. We're out.